Hello everyone, welcome to day 6 of 28 Days of Love. Bailey has decided he wants to join us today. I don't know how long he'll stay, but anyway, thank you again so much for your feedback. I love the messages and the stories that are coming back and hearing about all the little synchronicities and reading some of your emails last night. It gave me goosebumps, even little tears into my eyes, just to hear how already on day 6, transformation's starting to happen, and that's super cool. Just think by the end of the month, the changes and the shifts that's going to happen. So today we're going to talk about emotions. And again, this is building on things that we've been discussing already. We've talked about thoughts and being conscious of where our thoughts are and being careful to not be in the past or in the future too much. And a lot of times our thoughts do stem from emotions, especially ones that perhaps we haven't really taken the opportunity to properly process and let go. And I think, most of us, if not all of us, have never really been taught how to actually feel our emotions and process them in order to release them. And this stems back to when we're children and, a child falls and hurts themselves. And the first thing as a parent that you want to do is embrace that child and tell them everything's going to be okay and take away their pain. And as kind as that is, and as much as we mean well in doing so, we're actually robbing that child the opportunity to experience feelings and emotions and to allow them to pass. And we do that, just because that's what we've been taught. We can't blame anybody. Our parents only teach us what they were taught, and then we teach our children what we were taught. And it's just time to start making that shift. And we've been, for many years, conscious of the importance of, physical well-being and physical health. And finally, we're starting to really pay attention to mental health. But emotional health is something that is still really just kind of not really paid attention to, and it's so important because it has such an impact on our physical body and how we feel in our entire life. And even as adults, we do the same thing where, whether we're with a friend or a family member who is going through a really hard time, and okay, sit, Bailey. They start to cry and they're having that emotional experience, and we are so quick to just go in and embrace and again, try to take their pain from them so that they don't have to feel it. And again, as much as we mean well by that, we're really robbing them of that experience, and then we never really learn how to feel and process these emotions. And so emotions and feelings are energy, just like everything is energy. And emotions are energy in motion. It needs to move. And so we go through life and we have all these experiences, right? We know that's what life is about, one experience after another after another. And some experiences create really good feelings and emotions, and some not so good. And that's all part of it, and it's okay. I mean, again, how would we know light if we didn't know darkness? How would we know joy if we didn't know sadness? So when we have these experiences, what we really need to do is to give ourselves the time and our own personal space to actually feel that energy and to process it, and then to allow it to move on or to be released. And I know that sounds way easier said than done, especially feelings and emotions like anger and resentment and feelings of betrayal or deep sadness. it is hard to work through that. And I'm not saying that by incorporating some of these new things it's going to be easy, but it can be easier. And so when we're having that experience of a deep emotion coming up, especially a negative one, what we really need to do is to, again, remove ourselves from the environment, the situation, any of the people involved, and step into our space and connect back with ourselves, and take that time to take a few deep breaths, bring ourselves inside, and actually feel the energy. And if you do that, you can physically feel it. I can tell you because I've experienced it. I started actually doing this probably about a year ago, and after a few times, it was amazing how much different and easier it was to go through some really dark stuff. And it was kind of mind-blowing for me personally, because I know throughout life I've definitely, chosen to suffer by not properly dealing with my emotions. And when I actually took the time to connect and to feel it, and actually feel it, maybe start in the chest and then move down to the belly or vice versa, but then it kind of releases and it gets lighter. And I remember last Christmas was where I really noticed how much power there is in this, because I was going through a situation with family that was, really quite emotionally tough. It was very tough. And I removed myself and connected, and I took those breaths and I actually physically felt it. And even though I felt this pain and this sadness and frustration and all these things, at the same time, I also felt this inner peace that I've never felt before while going through something so tough. And I knew it was different, because there's a difference between just pushing it aside and not dealing with it and carrying on. And sometimes we do have to do that. Sometimes we need to deal with the situation first, then remove ourselves after and go through that process of feeling the emotion. But I just remember that Christmas day last year, just taking that time and actually thinking to myself, wow, how powerful to be able to do that and to feel it and to have that energy move and to still be able to move forward with the day and still find some joy in the day and be able to not feel so devastated. And that might be really hard to wrap your head around, and I guess all I can say is when you start to practice that and it happens, you'll feel it. And it is so empowering and so liberating to know that I can go through some really dark, ugly stuff and I can be okay. It's not going to feel good, but if I allow myself to actually feel the pain, it does pass. But if I just kind of suppress it down and distract, which we tend to do, right, with food or exercise or alcohol or drugs or shopping or whatever it is, we don't actually let it move, and it just stays there and it pokes and pokes and pokes over time, and it continues to cause that discomfort within us and maybe even eventually lead to dis-ease. So it is so, so important for us to feel all of our emotions, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, so that it can move. And maybe it's something that you just need that 5 minutes and it'll move. Maybe it's something that you need to feel it for a few days. Everyone is so different. Every situation is so different. But we need to start taking the time and start to take care of our emotional health as well as our mental health and our physical health. Because really, I truly believe the emotional piece is the root of everything, and it just builds on there. And so when we're with that friend or that family member that is, having their breakdown or their experience in that deep, dark place, the best thing that we can do for them is just hold that space for them and just give them the space to feel it and listen and let them process. And it's going to feel tough because you're going to want to hug them and console them and help them but just stay back. Let them have their opportunity to feel it. And then once they've had that time, then you can say, can I give you a hug? And then maybe you do, and maybe they don't want it. Some people really need extra space, and we need to be respectful of that. So that is going to be your homework. So 2 parts, I guess, is to really start feeling your emotions. Okay, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to be sad, but feel it so that it can move and you can process it and it can be released. And maybe there's some forgiveness that needs to come along with that as well, right? It's all ties together. And again, with our loved ones, our family, our friends, when we're in that space with them where they're having their experience of emotions, we need to let them have that. And then we can provide that extra support after if they choose to. I hope that makes sense. I know we're starting to get a little bit deeper here, but this really is such an important piece. I'm going to include a few more links in the email, probably some quotes. No more book recommendations for a bit. There will be more coming. And again, just keep doing the work. We're seeing so much happening already in 6 days from what you guys are telling me, and I'm feeling it, and I'm so excited for the rest of the month. I'm already thinking I'm going to be so sad on the last day when we have to do the last one, but who knows what will happen after that. Anyway, keep doing the work. Thank you again so much, and I hope you have a fabulous day, and I cannot wait to see you tomorrow.